It's Wednesday, April 29th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Charges are laid in relation to the diesel fuel spill at a Woodstock gas station. From plastic coyotes to scaring seagulls, what's with the sudden surge in pests?
April showers bring May rain. That's not the typical saying, but that is what's ahead for the region for the end of this week.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Nearly a year and a half after it happened, the New Brunswick government has laid charges against Irving Oil and another company after that massive diesel spill in Woodstock. Late anchor Bruce Frisco in the newsroom with us. He's been looking into it. Bruce, this could be costly for, well, both companies.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, quite costly, Todd. We're told that fines under the Clean Environment Act are potentially as high as $1 million. And along with Irving Oil, Grant Enterprise Limited is also named in these government charges, which are basically releasing a contaminant into the environment and failure to report a leak or possible leak of petroleum. And this was a big one. The story broke in December of 2024 when a restaurant near their gas station in Woodstock noticed a strong smell of fuel in their well water. Didn't take long to trace the problem to a failure in the fuel storage system at the gas station. Turned out to be a crack in what's called a remote fill elbow. The extent of the problem became clear the more the environmental crews dug. In the end, they recovered about 180,000 liters of diesel and presumably a whole lot of contaminated soil. The government says it's still monitoring and remediating the affected area. And you may also remember the incident prompted a province-wide survey of other gas stations to make sure the same thing wasn't happening somewhere else. We should mention this investigation was quite involved. The Department of Justice and Public Safety were involved, along with the Department of Environment and local government, all of them working together on this file. And we reached out to Irving Oil for comment on the charges, but have not yet received a response before news time. Todd.
All right. Thank you, Bruce, in the newsroom tonight. And, of course, Bruce will have your late update here at 11:30. 2 people have been arrested and a third is still wanted after a Nova Scotia home invasion led to an emergency alert. We have the details at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Searchers are looking for a missing hiker in the Cape Breton Highlands National Park tonight. Search and Rescue has set up a command center as they look for a 62-year-old woman from Australia who was reported missing by her family. They last heard from her back on the 14th of April. The woman's rental car was found yesterday in the parking lot at the visitor center. There's a live look at Fredericton at this hour where it is 11 degrees and overcast. Let's go to the CTV Weather Center where we find meteorologist Kalen Mitchell, who is tracking weather statements for what's making its way in.
That's right, exactly. We're looking at some pretty wet weather for areas of the Maritimes as we make our way through the end of this week. As we just saw there in the Fredericton, it's quite in Fredericton area. It's very cloudy at the moment. That's the case across much of the region. There's a few showers in place, but these statements are actually related to another weather system that's going to be arriving late Thursday into Friday. And they're in effect for a few parts of the region, including the northeast of New Brunswick, areas of the southwest of that province, and basically Halifax down the south shore. There's a potential for some heavier rain with some amounts that could total between 30 and 50 millimeters. And if there is some downpours or a few small thunderstorms embedded within the rain, some locations can actually get above that 50 millimeter mark, which would increase the risk of things such as localized flooding for areas that might be a little more susceptible to that. Now, taking a look at our weather systems map, that system is still far off towards the west of us. It's a long, extended series of weather fronts and a couple of low pressure systems basically linking up between northern Quebec and then all the way down through southern Ontario. You can see quite a bit of rain right now headed into and across the Ottawa Valley, making its way towards the St. Lawrence River Valley, and then extends from there down into the United States, including all the way down towards the Gulf states. Slowly making its way eastward, though, so it is headed in our direction. In the meantime, ahead of it, a lot of cloud cover in place. We do have some scattered showers around parts of the Maritimes for this evening. There may be some patchy fog as we make our way through the night as well. Taking a look at temperatures around the region, if you're headed out for this evening, quite cool around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia and for much of Cape Breton. There, most temperatures are in the range of around 3 to 8 degrees. Same thing goes for parts of the Bay of Fundy coastline in New Brunswick. It is going to be a bit of a cloudy and cool night for the Maritime region. More on the forecast when I'm back a little bit later on, Todd.
So, as you said at the opening of the show, April showers bringing
May rain. Because
rain.
Friday, of course, May 1st.
The flowers will have to wait.
Yeah.
We will see you later for the full forecast. Thank you. To medical news now, and a political row is growing over the way Nova Scotia Health calculates how many people have a family doctor or healthcare team. Critics argue a new reporting system might be painting a more flattering picture. CTV's Jesse Thomas reports.
Health officials say their hard work around attaching Nova Scotians to primary care is paying off. As of April 1st, around 6% of Nova Scotians, nearly 62,000 people, remain on the Need a Family Practice wait list. That's down from around 9% last year. Department of Health and Wellness's top bureaucrat says the wait list has evolved.
But I think we have to remember that in 2021, there really wasn't a methodology. There was a spreadsheet with people's names on it.
But opposition argue the new methodology changes what attached means. And the disagreement centers around patients previously identified as pending attachment are now considered attached, even when they may not have had an appointment with the doctor or healthcare team.
They've changed the goalpost entirely. They've created a waiting room, essentially, for Nova Scotians, and they aren't able to say how many people are sitting in that waiting room waiting.
The NDP agree and raise similar concerns around patients who have been assigned to a primary health care clinic that had yet to open its doors.
Folks were being attached months ahead of time, before the site was even complete, before recruitment had been completed, as far as I understand. And so they were confused.
Health officials disagree, saying attachment doesn't mean a first appointment has happened. They argue it's when a patient has been assigned to a healthcare provider.
And calling our people attached when they have been given a health home and an assigned location, and that particular practice has been informed that they're being added to their actual list. I think that's a pretty accurate way to talk about being attached.
The next update to the patient registry is expected in early May. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
You can add Cape Breton's Seal Island to the long list of maritime spans facing traffic delays. Starting today, the bridge is reduced to 1 lane until the 5th of June. It's a replacement of 5 of the bridge's 7 joints can be done. The Seal Island Bridge is more than 60 years old. A few years back, Nova Scotia's Department of Public Works announced that work would be done to extend the life of the bridge for another 10 to 15 years before it has to be replaced. Now, this might come as a surprise in what has been the fastest growing city in Canada the past couple of years. Building permits in Moncton were down for the first quarter of this year. 176 building permits have been issued so far, most of them for downtown housing developments. However, the first quarter's building permits are close to $85 million less than the same period last year, which was a record for the city.
The number is way above the 2017 to 2024 number, which was 17 million, ranging up to 57 million. We are looking at the numbers, obviously, but it's not the record-breaking year that we had last year, but it's way above average than the previous 10 years.
86 million in residential permits have been issued since the start of the year. That represents 472 new homes for the growing city. Are you hoping to buy a home? So are a lot of Maritimers, but there are a number of things holding them back: affordability, accessibility, and, of course, uncertainty, as CTV's Emma Convey learned.
It's not a buyer's nor a seller's market in Nova Scotia. It's balanced. The only problem is Maritimers' ability to buy, or really, whether they think they can.
It's very expensive, I don't think that it's very realistic for my generation or people in my age bracket to own a home.
You have, a young son who is renting as well. Love for him and his partner to be able to buy, but, they're not in a position to do that right now.
A common sentiment among Maritimers, according to a new survey by Abacus Data. It found 77% of people believe housing in their area is unaffordable.
Nearly 9 in 10 residents view housing as a concern with respect to affordability and availability. So it is a top tier issue among residents. 3/4 say housing in their area is not affordable today.
The survey was commissioned by the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. They say most national polling results about the housing market focus on Ontario and British Columbia. They felt it was time to look at the East Coast.
37% of Nova Scotians are optimistic that home ownership is attainable in the future. 40% are pessimistic to somewhat pessimistic that home ownership is attainable.
The survey found 68% cite rising cost of living as one of the main issues, but there are a number of factors.
Residents are very well aware that it costs a significant amount of money to buy a home, or to build a home, sorry. Outside of that, there's also perceptions around delays in approvals. There's a notion of labor shortages. There's challenges around additional charges and fees.
The Realtors Association says the younger generation, ages 24 to 35 in particular, feel homeownership is slipping away from them.
Momentum has been built, but more momentum needs to take place, and we need more purpose-built housing.
Todd, the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors says there needs to be homes that suit everyone, from social housing to large family homes. Todd.
In Halifax for us tonight. Thank you, Emma, for that. What do a health centre and a community college have in common? Right now, pest problems. While both are in Halifax, they have different bird issues and ways to deal with them. CTV's Callum Smith shows us.
All is quiet on this Dartmouth Community College campus right now, but a few times a week for a couple weeks, that's not the case.
They let off a bit of a loud bang. It's between 110 and 120 decibels up on the roof. Of course, that gets a little louder as you travel downhill. The campus is on a hill, and there's some whistling sound as well.
They are a pest control company trying to prevent seagulls from nesting on the roof, specifically around ventilation systems.
It's a critical time for them nesting. We're trying to prevent that from happening up on our roof so we can perform the work that we need to do up there on a routine basis.
That's because last year there was a nest with 3 young seagulls that called the roof home.
Bird droppings, as they dry, they can aerosolize, and then those particles get into the HVAC system or air intakes of buildings, and we could be breathing those in, which could be harmful to people, in addition to just their corrosive nature.
There's no sense scaring them off. They're just going to come back year after year. So build fencing around what you want protected. It's expensive, but it's a one-time fee.
At the Bears Lake Outpatient Center in Halifax, the problem is geese. These decoy coyotes will be set up along with reflective material to keep them away. Nova Scotia Health didn't want to talk about how bad things are.
If they're nesting, they can be quite aggressive protecting their nest. But if they're just hanging out and are juvenile geese, they're not too much of a problem, other than they do leave a lot of droppings behind. So getting rid of that green grass and making something just as beautiful with bushes and trees.
This might come as a surprise, but both gulls and geese are protected species, making the job of getting rid of them much more difficult. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
Moncton is getting a new facility to help people with homelessness and mental health issues. The group home is located in Salisbury and will offer support to people through a joint project of the provincial government and alternative residences. The province bought the home as part of a program to cut homelessness by 40% over a 4-year period.
The 40% reduction in chronic homelessness is a big deal. It will be a difficult target to hit. The train was speeding in the opposite direction, and it's not as simple for us to say to stop the train and turn it around. We've got to build a whole new set of tracks in the other direction. Projects like this help.
It really is intended to be a very comfortable home for people that are living with mental illness, because it's important for us to provide supportive housing for people who are really looking to get their lives back into a different place, and we'll work with them on those objectives.
The facility for men and women is scheduled to open in May.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The New Brunswick government says healthcare is its top priority and insists it's making progress hitting targets. But as Nick Moore reports, even the Premier and Health Minister concede there's some areas they expected would be further along by now.
Pharmacy was just added.
Susan Holt's Liberal government opened its first collaborative healthcare clinic on Fredericton's north side just over a year ago with the goal of matching 1,600 patients to primary health care. So far, just over 1,100 patients have been connected.
There have been some bumps to work out.
Today, Premier Holt and Health Minister Dr. John Dornan gave an update on flagship healthcare promises, with collaborative healthcare clinics being one of the biggest. The clinic in Tantramar has so far taken 277 people off the wait list, with the target being 1,000 people.
You know, early in my mandate, I thought, well, collaborative care clinics are going to fix everything. It's not quite that simple. They go a long way, but there's lots of care opportunities adjacent to that.
Progress is being made, but we still face real challenges. You will have heard me describe challenges on data, challenges with space, challenges to move as quickly as we would like, as we still see turnover of healthcare professionals.
Holt says there has been positive movement on recruitment.
Ending March 31st of 2026, we had the highest net increase in physicians in the province's history at 67. The nurse turnover at Horizon in particular has improved significantly and stabilized at 0.93%. This has come down from an average of 5.54% the previous year.
Holt says $10,000 retention bonuses have helped. Paula Doucette is president of the New Brunswick Nurses Union.
I think the retention payments have played a small role. Absolutely. But I think there's other factors too. I think that, the fact that the province and regional health authorities are out there recruiting.
Back on collaborative healthcare clinics, Holt says the province's 15th will be announced next week out of the 30 promised within her mandate. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Air passengers in St. John will have more options. Porter Airlines just announced new flights and easier connections. As CTV's Avery McRae explains, travelers have Montreal to thank.
A quiet board of flight information at the St. John Airport. But soon travelers will have more options out of YSJ.
For the community, it's great. It's essentially a Porter Network flight.
Starting June 15th, Pascan Aviation, in partnership with Porter Airlines, will fly twice weekly and once on weekends to the Montreal Metropolitan Airport. St. John Airport CEO Court Edinburgh says the deal will mean travelers can leave St. John on Pascan in the morning and arrive in Vancouver by lunchtime on a Porter plane through one booking.
Our flights that we have now are almost at capacity or at capacity, and all of our studies that we do on a daily basis, and we have consultants that help us with, the airlines themselves do it, all the data points that there is a ton of demand here.
The demand isn't just in St. John. The opening of the new Montreal airport is bringing additional Porter flights to Halifax, Moncton, and Charlottetown.
We couldn't be more excited than we are for opening a design from scratch terminal in Montreal Metropolitan Airport. And part of that is our own rapid growth into a dozen destinations in the first month.
Porter Airlines Vice President Andrew Pierce says the additional flight will give Maritimers easy access to Montreal, similar to Billy Bishop Airport in Toronto. He also says the new flights are timely with high summer demand.
What we see in the advanced bookings for this summer just further accentuates that. The demand across Canada is going to be robust in 2026.
Which may result in even more flight options coming to places like the Port City. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
All right, we'll take our first break of the evening. Kaylin has some wet weather details in the forecast. But first, day 2 of the royal visit to America. The King and Queen take on New York.
King Charles and Queen Camilla are here in New York City today on day 3 of their state visit. I'm Rena Roy, who they're meeting with and what they'll see coming up.
King Charles and Queen Camilla took a bite out of the Big Apple today. They stopped at a number of sites across Manhattan, including the 9/11 Memorial. That's where we find ABC's Rena Roy with details.
It's a historic state visit for King Charles and Queen Camilla, who have now arrived in New York City. The royal couple laying flowers at the 9/11 Memorial in Lower Manhattan, honoring the victims of the September 11th attacks nearly 25 years later. Also meeting with first responders and the families of victims. The King's trip to New York follows a whirlwind day in Washington, D.C., which ended with a glamorous state dinner Tuesday night. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump hosting the King and Queen at the White House.
History has known no more powerful force than the combination of American patriotism and British pride.
We are determined to face the future together.
Earlier Tuesday, King Charles became the first king to ever address Congress, calling for unity in his speech, marking the 250th anniversary of American independence.
I pray with all my heart that our alliance will continue to defend our shared values with our partners in Europe and the Commonwealth and across the world. And that we ignore the clarion calls to become ever more inward-looking.
Now, later this evening, the King and Queen will attend a reception showcasing the UK's cultural impact on New York through the arts, sports, and community initiatives. In Lower Manhattan, Rena Roy, ABC News.
Looks like a soggy end to the week across most of the Maritimes. Kaylin Mitchell returns with his full forecast after this commercial break. Lots of wave action on the south shore of Nova Scotia, and the winds are pushing the surf up.
Yes.
You can see at White Point Beach, 5 degrees. Still a pretty picture. Is this the lead? Is this the leading edge of that weather system you were talking about in the news block?
I love White Point Beach. I just prefer it be 15 degrees instead of 5.
Well, or 25 degrees.
Yes, not unusual when a sort of broad trough of low pressure, and that's what's to the west of us right now, is approaching, that we do see sort of a pull in the winds or in the atmosphere towards the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. We're in that southeast wind now. It's a little bit more onshore for that part of the Maritimes. It's going to continue tonight and tomorrow as that weather system approaches, and then that's what's eventually going to be bringing us the more widespread rain that we're expecting to finish off this month and start the month of May. So.
And then all sunshine.
Yeah. Then
sure.
Some sunshine. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this next weather system. So I talked about it earlier. It is really a broad, just sprawling area of low pressure and a series of weather fronts extending from northern Quebec and then all the way down through southern Ontario and into parts of the United States. The tail end of the front actually all the way down towards the Gulf states. For us, it is going to generate what looks like a little low pressure system that's going to be moving up past Cape Cod. It's kind of a slow moving weather system. So the rain will be developing beginning Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening in western parts of the Maritimes, but then spreading across the region as we head through Thursday evening, night, and into Friday. And Friday's forecast right now for the region is rain, drizzle, and fog. Because it is a little bit slower moving, and because the front has potential to tap into some moisture off of the subtropical Atlantic, that does increase the rain potential for us here in the Maritimes. So expecting a pretty good soaking for most of the region out of this one. General rainfall totals of 20 to 40 millimeters, although it might be a little bit higher and a little bit lower for a few spots. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Taking a look at our forecast timeline, though, as we make our way through tonight, it is going to be cloudy skies with a few isolated showers. The highest chance of showers as we make our way through this evening and towards midnight around the southeast New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and around some northern and western areas of Nova Scotia. Cloudy start to the day for tomorrow across the Maritimes, and as we make our way into and through Thursday afternoon, you'll notice that green approaching from the west, and that is the rain and the showers associated with this approaching low pressure system and its weather fronts. And you can see that could start with some showers around western areas of New Brunswick, communities there in the west and the southwest of Nova Scotia as early as around the mid-afternoon hours of tomorrow. And then as we head through Thursday evening and Thursday night, it's that rain moving in. And you can see it's in place for Friday morning across the region. Initially on Friday, it might be lighter for eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton, but Cape Breton will also be one of the locations last out of the rain. They could linger with some rain straight on into Saturday morning. Rainfall amounts of this weather system, general 20 to 40 millimeters, but you can see there's some brighter colors showing up for parts of the Maritimes. Basically, Halifax down the south shore of Nova Scotia, parts of the south and southwest of New Brunswick, and up towards the northeast. There is some guidance right now indicating the potential of pockets of rain that could be as high as maybe 40 to 60 millimeters. Certainly, there might be the presence of some downpours or a few thunderstorms embedded within the rain with this weather system, and if those move over top of your area, you could see some of those higher rainfall rainfall totals. It is possible that a few areas as well finish with some lower rainfall amounts, maybe around 10 millimeters or a little bit less. That includes parts of Prince Edward Island, areas of the North Shore of Nova Scotia, and Inverness County in Cape Breton. The potential there of a little bit of a rain shadow effect. Winds in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow will be out of the southeast. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight will be around the low to mid single digits as we take a look at the extended forecast. And as Todd mentioned, we can expect to see a little bit of sunshine in behind the rain. So Friday, pretty rainy day, but Saturday for New Brunswick, a mix of sun and cloud. You got showers in the forecast for Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud on Monday, and a chance of showers on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. For Nova Scotia, the outlook as well looks like the start of the weekend is going to be pretty nice. Showers in the forecast for Sunday. On Monday, a mix of sun and cloud. That'll be followed by a chance of showers on Tuesday of next week. And Wednesday, a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures looking milder through that stretch of days. And for Prince Edward Island, rain and fog on Friday. Cloudy periods for Saturday. Showers for Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud on Monday. And a chance of showers on Tuesday of next week. Todd.
I think folks living along the coastal areas will be happy with the mild temperatures at least.
Yeah, I would like to say that they would probably enjoy a little bit of a bump up, that's for sure.
No doubt. Okay, we'll see you at the end of the show. Next, we're going to talk about a couple of recent significant announcements around those drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic. Stay with us.
Okay, so we're back at it. Virgin Radio's 5K a day, chance to win $5,000 daily.
Our keywords start with us after 7 a.m.
Tomorrow, we're also giving away race registrations to the Blue Nose Marathon.
Welcome back. There was a recent announcement from Health Canada that, well, it kind of got lost in the news cycle. The department says Canada is the first G7 country to authorize a generic version of Ozempic used in the treatment of type 2 diabetes, of course. In adults, we know as well for helping to reduce weight in many people that use it. It comes as the World Health Organization listed GLP-1s as essential medicine. So what could this mean for therapy access in primary care? We're joined by Dr. Kevin Potty, Research Chair at Dalhousie University's Department of Family Medicine. He's in Waterloo, Ontario tonight. It's nice to see you, Doctor.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, Todd.
You've commented on what the WHO listing could mean. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
I just want to say how this is a really important and exciting moment for Canada to actually have access to generic medications. The WHO has recognized that these medications are essential, and they have put them on their model essential medication list because they know that the only way to really treat diabetes and obesity and heart disease is to have these medications available for the community primary health care doctors and clinics. So the affordability is really important, and then the next level is to make sure that this is going to be there's the education and the primary health care behind what's needed with these medications.
What does Health Canada's approval of a generic version mean in that regard then?
We don't know exactly how much it's going to cost yet. Typically, these generics are 45 to 90% cheaper. We know this medication could be actually made for $3 a month. And this is quite a bit less than the kind of 400 range that things came out at. So I think that the affordability, I think, will allow provincial governments, patients, private plans to finally make this accessible to not just to diabetics, but we also know people with obesity and people with heart disease. There's a lot of benefits to these medications, and they really had been limited in terms of who we could give these to.
Yeah, so that really puts it in the hands potentially of a lot of folks who otherwise might not get them, and would have huge implications for the healthcare system potentially.
So people might sometimes see, oh, these medications cost a lot of money, but these medications are necessary. People with diabetes have a much higher rate of stroke, heart attacks, and death. People with obesity have a lot of disability, difficulty providing for their families, often even needing family members to help them get them dressed. So I think that it is just necessary that we treat these illnesses, and we'll be saving a lot of healthcare dollars by treating. Now, of course, I don't want to say that prevention will be ideal in the future, but for now, we have a lot of people to treat.
What health systems need to be in place for safe long-term use?
Well, we just noticed that we've had an incredible one-year impact, for example, on people with obesity, people that had just transformed their lives, walking again, doing activities that they haven't done in years, enjoying their kids. So the issue, I guess, was that a lot of those people stop their medication thinking that they're going to be fine. And unfortunately, once you've had a certain weight, your brain thinks that's your real weight, and it wants to get back there. So I think that there's a couple of things just here is one is that we're going to need long-term treatment for diabetes and for obesity, heart disease, chronic kidney disease. Now it's starting to be used for liver disease. So having access to these medications is really, really important. And I think Canada is very lucky as a first country to actually have accessibility. So this is a really exciting time.
So having that accessibility, but that doesn't guarantee that the supply will necessarily be there, right? This is just one generic that's been given the green light. My understanding is they're certainly hoping for more.
I think the supply thing, which, everyone probably remembers the COVID vaccination with limited supply, this led us to kind of have to prioritize who gets the vaccine at the beginning. The same thing began with diabetes and obesity and the semaglutide medications, where as health professionals, we had to decide who would have the most benefit. But I do believe that there's been an incredible ramping up of production. We know that India is going to be leading the pack already. I think they have a generic. China is coming into this, Brazil, Turkey, South Africa. And those countries will actually play a big role in making sure these medications reach lower and middle income countries where there actually are no patents, but they're very expensive medications. And this is, for me, also a very exciting. So I'm happy for Canada, but I'm also happy for global health with generics appearing in a number of other big countries.
Well, it's quite an advancement, Dr. Potty. We certainly appreciate you coming on to talk to us about it. It's not the last conversation we'll have about this, I'm sure. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thanks for your interest. This is a really important story. I'm glad you're covering it.
And we'll talk to you when you're back home.
Okay.
All right. We will now make this our CTV web poll tonight, and we're asking you this question. Would you go on a GLP-1 prescription drug like Ozempic, or it's generic? And your options are yes, if my doctor says it will improve my health. No, I'm concerned about potential side effects. Or it depends on the price. We'd like to hear from you at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. We'll be back after this. In medical news tonight, details of that Ozempic generic drug. And could Canada follow the UK lead in banning tobacco sales to young people? CTV's Amanda Debison has more in the midweek edition of The Lifeline.
Health Canada's approval of the first generic version of semaglutide could help cash-strapped Canadians manage type 2 diabetes without breaking the bank. Health Canada has approved the first generic version of brand name Ozempic, making it the first G7 country to authorize generic semaglutide. The injectable medication is manufactured in India and has been approved for the weekly treatment of type 2 diabetes in adults. The drug is often prescribed off-label to help with weight loss. The generic version is expected to be cheaper than Novo Nordisk's Ozempic, which can cost hundreds of dollars a month. Health Canada says it's looking at submissions from 8 other companies. The federal health minister is suggesting Canada may follow the UK's lead and ban smoking for young people.
I'm looking into it right now. We saw what UK did, but I'm looking into it with all partners for now.
Last week, British lawmakers approved a bill banning anyone born after 2008 from ever buying cigarettes in a bid to create the first smoke-free generation. The bill also tightens rules around vaping and other nicotine products. Finally, in the U.S., the FDA has approved the first gene therapy for inherited hearing loss. It only requires a single treatment, and after 5 months, 16 out of 20 children born deaf had hearing improvement. Out of the 12 followed for a year, 5 gained normal hearing. Only about 50 babies are born in the U.S. each year with the rare genetic mutation. Treatments usually cost millions of dollars. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
On the scene, in a few weeks, Sydney will host the East Coast Music Awards. And today it was announced Cape Breton will also welcome the country's top folk singers. The Canadian Folk Music Awards will be handed out in the city roughly this time next year. CTV's Ryan McDonald has details and reaction.
The Barra McNeils are well known for their Celtic music. Today, they played a few tunes to help announce that the 2027 Canadian Folk Music Awards are coming to Cape Breton.
What took them so long?
Lucy McNeil won an award last year when the event was held in Ottawa. As lifelong performers, she and her brother Boyd know what something like this can bring to their home island.
Your restaurants are full, your bars, your venues, people they get to know the area, so I think it's a win-win for everybody.
And this is the first time we've been to the province, let alone Cape Breton itself.
It's 4 days of music and awards set for April 8th to 11th, typically a slower shoulder season time of year, and it's expected to bring not only musicians and delegates to town, but folk music fans too.
We had fans from Calgary say they wanted to buy wristbands. So they're going to be coming here. So what we do is we drag people from other events to join us and have a blast.
It's safe to say that, this would be an economic impact in the millions.
The head of Destination Cape Breton says the hosting fee for winning the bid is $75,000, with the island also welcoming the East Coast Music Awards next month and Celtic Colours in the fall. He says having all of these big music events, one after the other, should help build momentum for the Cape Breton brand.
It's a big reason why people come here. So the more music events that we can have, the more festivals we can have, it all helps.
And there is a component of the event announced today that is seen as an exposure opportunity for local artists.
With a buyers program like this and a national buyers program coming in, all the musicians, including Cape Breton musicians, get the chance to interact with festival owners and buyers from across the country and even around the world.
Representatives from the Canadian Folk Music Awards will spend more of this week in Sydney and surrounding communities, touring venues and preparing for next spring. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
And from music to movies, The Devil Wears Prada 2 opens in cinemas Friday, 20 years after the original film debuted. CNN's David Daniel looks at what the stars have been up to the past couple of decades.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 reunites the 2006 original's core four, all of whom have been busy since then.
People think that success just happens to you. It doesn't.
Meryl Streep's Oscar nomination for the first Prada was her 14th. Since then, she's racked up 7 more, winning for The Iron Lady, her 3rd Oscar victory.
Mamma mia, here I go again.
She sang the hits in Mamma Mia, sang uniquely as Florence Foster Jenkins, and received praise for The Post, including her record 21st Oscar nomination.
I'm Shiva the Destroyer, and your harbinger of doom for this evening.
Anne Hathaway earned her first Oscar nod for Rachel Getting Married and sang her way to Oscar Gold in Les Miserables.
I dreamed that love would never die.
Other Hathaway films have included The Dark Knight Rises, Ocean's 8, and The Idea of You. She's in theaters this month with Mother Mary as well as Prada 2.
With all my duties, and I do take them very seriously.
I know you do. Emily Blunt followed up her breakout Prada role with more acclaimed work, including The Young Victoria, demonstrated action chops in Edge of Tomorrow and A Quiet Place.
If you could see, you're not the man who started.
Showed off her own singing in Into the Woods, as did Streep, and in Mary Poppins Returns, and received her first Oscar nomination for Oppenheimer.
What is it that you really like to do?
Eat.
Stanley Tucci reunited with Streep for Julie and Julia and earned an Oscar nomination for The Lovely Bones.
You definitely smell better than I do. Well, I've lived here longer. That makes sense.
He's also played an outrageous MC in The Hunger Games, a determined lawyer in Spotlight, and a sharp-tongued cardinal in Conclave.
It's not a war.
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We've got our business report, the wake-up weather, but first, here's the primetime lineup.
With Aaron and Peter. Tomorrow's the big day. Bike a Day in May returns with Canadian Tire.
Listen for the Bike Bell between 8 and 9. Call in and qualify and win the next day.
The Dow Jones ended the trading day down 280 points. 4 of the biggest companies in the United States have reported earnings today. Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft all released final results at the end of the trading day. B&M Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has the numbers.
These are the companies investing billions of dollars into artificial intelligence. Their earnings are an indication of whether those investments are paying off. Meta reported it is once again raising the amount it will spend on its AI build-out this year. The social media company projects it will spend between $125 and $145 billion U.S. It is paying more for components than its competitors since it's late to the AI race. Investors didn't like the news, sending the stock down in after-hours trading. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar not changed much. It's at 73.08. West Texas Intermediate up almost $7 to 106.88. Western Canadian Select up over $3 to 78.34. And the TSX lost 265 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kaylin's on the weather deck. Yesterday, Kaylin, Brianne Foley was in for you. I mentioned you were on assignment. A pretty good one at that. Maybe you want to tell us about it.
Yeah, let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight, and I'll just chat a little bit about this. So our picture's coming in from Carrie McPherson, and it's taken down at the Halifax waterfront yesterday. Now, Carrie was with us as we were at the Discovery Center recording some educational weather videos, the science basically behind the weather, and it was myself and Suzette, and as good as myself and Suzette were, and we were very, very good. All the heavy lifting was done by our student co-stars. So I want to give a big shout out to both Jack and Francis, who were the students with us yesterday at the Discovery Center. Did a really great job in explaining some weather science with those videos. For Halifax, for tomorrow, it's going to be a cloudy day. There may be a little bit of patchy drizzle around. The high temperature is going to be near 7 degrees because it's a southeast wind, so still cooler coming in off those ocean waters. Day planner for tomorrow across the maritime region. It is cloud cover in the morning. The morning temperatures will be around the low to mid-single digits. Again, some patchy drizzle for coastal areas of Nova Scotia and in Cape Breton. And then for the afternoon, we start to see some rain and some showers approach from the west. So the first communities to get into the wet weather that we're expecting for the end of this week will be communities close to the border of New Brunswick and Maine in that province, and then in the southwest of Nova Scotia, the Tri-County region, Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne counties. High temperatures tomorrow, mid to high single digits for the coast, and inland could be up into the low teens. That rain is going to continue to move in Thursday night into Friday morning. Let's find out what's ahead on your Morning Atlantic.
Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic, aging well at home.
That is the theme of this weekend's Halifax Seniors Expo. We'll chat with the organizer about the featured services, professionals, and programs.
Start your morning with us Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally for us tonight, it's a Kentucky Derby Week tradition. Nearly 50 teams raced for Goofy Glory as part of the Great Bed Races. Groups got to push their decorated beds in a figure-8 course, competing for multiple awards for the Great Bed Race, the 37th year they've done this. The 152nd Kentucky Derby runs on Saturday. So yes, it's May because the races have begun. That's our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco is here at 11:30 with your late night update. The web, and the app has updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you right back here tomorrow night at 6. Till then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.